At Grandma's 70th birthday, my sister stole every dollar from my account and bragged, "He'll be broke by tonight." When she returned home, I was waiting. I smiled and said, "I know, sis, and I have a surprise for you." Then my lawyer stepped inside. You know that gut-wrenching feeling when someone you love, someone you'd literally die for, looks you in the eye and casually tells you they've just taken a sledgehammer to your entire future? For me, that moment arrived with a smirk and a chilling whisper from my own sister, threatening to shatter everything I'd painstakingly built. And the worst part? It wasn't a threat at all. It was a spoiler. My name's Colton, I'm 33, and I own a small roadside motel off Highway 17. 20 rooms, 2 ice machines that fight more than my siblings, and a neon sign that hums like a tired, old bee. This place isn't glamorous, but it's mine. I grew up here, cleaning rooms after school, fixing leaky sinks, learning every rattle and squeak in every door. My mom calls me a ledger, my dad calls me the manager. My sister, Belle, well, she used to call me Colt the Vault. Sometimes it was a joke. Sometimes it really wasn't. Grandma's 70th birthday was on a humid Saturday. We'd rented the VFW hall. White balloons, a sheet cake with these 2 perfect sweet roses, the comforting smell of coffee and potato salad hanging in the air. The family was doing that thing where we took turns hugging Grandma, while she told the same story about Grandpa stealing a watermelon in '72. The DJ kept forgetting to turn his mic off. I was standing by the punch bowl, tie a little loose, my mind drifting to late check-ins and the perpetually clogged sink in room 8. Then Belle slid up to me. She was wearing this silver dress, like she was walking the red carpet instead of a VFW hall. She kissed Grandma, posed for a few photos, and then found me. She poked me, right on the chest. "Manager," she purred, her eyes bright. "Smile? It's a party." "I'm smiling on the inside," I told her. She just rolled her eyes. "You always are." We took some more photos, did the toast. Grandma blew out her candles like she was annoyed at the fire, and then the music cranked up. People started dancing. I needed air. I stepped outside, where the night was thick with the scent of rain and stale cigarettes. That's when Belle followed, her heels clicking sharp against the concrete. "Big day tomorrow?" she asked, leaning against the railing, looking far too pleased with herself. "Always," I said, thinking of Sunday turnovers. Then she leaned in, her voice soft, almost a flirt. "I can't wait for my brother to realize he's broke." I blinked. My breath hitched. "What?" She just smirked. "You heard me." I stared at her, the parking lot lights flickering, making shadows dance. Somewhere inside, someone yelled, "Cha slide," and Grandma booed. My stomach dropped like an elevator skipping a floor. "Say it again," I managed, my voice a whisper. Belle's smile widened, cold and knowing. "Don't worry, Colt the Vault. It's just money. You're good at making more." She slid her phone into her purse and, with a casual wave, added, "Enjoy the party." Then she walked back inside, hips swaying, leaving me with the hum of the neon sign in my head and the metallic taste of dread in my mouth. I didn't chase her. I went back in, refilled Grandma's punch, took photos of her dancing with Dad. I laughed in the right places, but her words didn't leave. They sat in my chest like a coin lodged in a drain, heavy and cold. That was the first spark. I had no idea what fire it would light. Owning a motel sounds simple. It is not. Every toilet that runs is $1 down the drain. Every towel that vanishes is $2. Weekdays, you've got construction crews paying cash. Weekends, it's families arguing about pets. I keep my books tight, meticulously. I learned the hard way that one bad month can swallow 3 good ones whole. I didn't start with much. Dad had the land, this sagging L-shaped complex he bought when I was 12, convinced that someday the highway will explode with traffic. It didn't. I exploded. I skipped college after 2 semesters and came home. I painted rooms, patched roofs, and turned his someday into today. I refinanced twice, begged a bank manager named Alonzo to believe in my occupancy rates, and sold my truck to replace a boiler that died on Christmas Eve. I slept in the office for 2 years. I ate more vending machine dinners than I'd ever admit. Belle, she's 28. A storm in eyeliner. She tried real estate for a minute, then a boutique, then influencing. She lives like money is a story that always ends well. And when it doesn't, she calls me. "Just until Friday," she'd say. You know, I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important. Friday turned into next month. Next month turned into Mom texting. She's having a hard time. Can you cover her car note? You're so good with money. I grew up with this lesson. Be a good brother. It's a lesson that turns your pockets inside out. 3 years ago, I formalized the motel. New LLC, new accounts, a small business line of credit, a payroll service because I was tired of worrying about tax deadlines in my sleep. I added Dad as a limited partner, 5%, because he still mows the back lot and keeps the ice machines feeling guilty. I did not add Belle. I did, however, let her use the front desk computer sometimes for printing. It felt harmless then. My family thinks I'm stingy because I tell the truth about money. We can't afford that, Mom. That rate is below cost, Dad. No. Belle, you can't host a pop-up in my lobby on Memorial Day weekend. They call it negativity. I call it keeping the lights on. The week before Grandma's party, things were tight. August heat scares off two kinds of travelers, the careful and the broke. The AC units were gulping electricity. A vendor doubled the price on laundry detergent. My line of credit ticked up, then down, then up again like a tired heartbeat. I'd been up late, running numbers. Room 12 needed carpet. The roof needed patching before September storms. My staff wanted raises. They deserved them. So when Belle said what she said, it hit something raw. I tried to shrug it off at the party. I couldn't. The way she said it stuck. Not a threat, not a joke. A spoiler for a show I hadn't watched yet. After midnight, I drove home, 2 leftover centerpieces and Grandma's cake box sliding around the passenger seat. I parked behind the office, did a lap, checked the locks. The lobby smelled like lemon cleaner and coffee gone bitter. I sat at the front desk, the little Belle staring at me, and opened the motel checking account on the dusty desktop. The screen loaded slow. My eyes went straight to the balance. It should have been just over $42,000. Enough to make payroll Monday, pay the linen service Wednesday. Enough to breathe. It was $412. For a second, I thought I misread a comma. I rubbed my eyes, looked again. $412. A trickle of transactions stacked like falling dominoes. 10 transfers, all in the last 2 hours. All labeled internal. All out to the same bank. Same name, Belle M. Fulton. My throat went bone dry. I scrolled faster. 10 transfers, staggered at weird amounts. For $100, $800, $3,200, $5,000, like someone was dancing just under automatic flags. Several labeled vendor ADJ in the memo. One labeled refund. One labeled linen reversal. All in-house. All from my motel's operating account. My hand shook. I clicked details. The authorization user displayed in gray letters. Desk Terminal 1. Admin, Belle Fulton. I pushed away from the chair. The room swayed, then snapped into focus. I hadn't set her as admin. She wasn't even supposed to log into the bank portal. The front desk computer had a saved bookmark for deposits only. How? I could hear her voice again on the deck at the VFW. Asterisk. I can't wait for my brother to realize he's broke. Asterisk, I called her. Straight to voicemail. Belle, I said, my voice tight. Call me now. I called again. Nothing. I sent a text. This is not a joke. Call me. 3 dots appeared, then stopped. Then nothing. I called the bank's after-hours line. A man with a kind voice told me he couldn't reverse online transfers until morning, but he could mark the account for fraud review. He said the word internal like it tasted bad. He locked the portal. He said, come in at 9 o'clock with ID. I said I'd be there at 8. Then I called my mother. She answered on the 3rd ring, breathless. Don't yell, she said immediately. I haven't said anything. I replied, my voice dangerously calm. You sound like yelling. Where's Belle? Sleeping, I imagine. It's late, Colton. She stole from me. A pause. A tiny sigh. Don't be dramatic. I stared at the screen. Mom, the motel account is empty. She borrowed. Families help each other. You act like you're a bank. I am a business. You always make it about business. I let the silence stretch. Finally, she whispered. She said you locked her out of your life, so she did what she had to do. What she had to do. I repeated the words, a burning in my chest. Mom, payroll is Monday. I have 13 people who expect checks. My mother's voice tightened. Why do you have so many employees? Because I run a motel. Belle said you'd make it back in a week. You always do. You're talented. My chest burned. I hung up before I said the thing that would end us. I stared at the ceiling tiles until a small brown stain looked like a gaping hole. At 2 a.m., My night clerk, Miguel, knocked on the office door, holding a lukewarm coffee. You good, boss? I swallowed. Go home, Miguel. I've got it. He left the coffee anyway. I pulled the chair back, opened a blank spreadsheet, and started listing names, staff, vendors, dates. I wrote Monday payroll in all caps. I wrote Wednesday linens. I wrote Thursday utilities. Then I wrote Bell and circled it twice. Morning would come. So would guests checking out, a bus full of retirees, and a couple complaining that the AC in room 3 smelled like rain. Life wasn't going to pause because my sister wanted to play entrepreneur with my ledger. I told myself I'd breathe in the morning. I didn't. I turned off the lobby lights and waited for sunrise, the soda machine humming behind me like a lullaby I couldn't hear. At 8:03 a.m., I was at the bank, file folder in hand, and a headache that felt like it had teeth. The branch manager, Alonzo, met me at his glass door. Already apologizing, Colton, he said, seeing the flags. Come in. We sat. I slid the printouts across his desk. He frowned, tapping a pen against the transfers. These were authenticated from your desk terminal, he said carefully. Admin credentials? I didn't authorize them, I said, my voice flat. He nodded. Changed yesterday at 4:17 p.m. New admin, Belle Fulton. She does not work for me, I stated. He swallowed. She was added as a user last spring. No, she wasn't. He turned the monitor so I could see. An onboarding form with my LLC's name and a digital signature that looked like my signature. If you squinted and didn't care. It's sloppy, Alonzo said, his voice low. But it passed. We can freeze her receiving account. We'll start a fraud claim. It'll take time. Time, I repeated. He held my gaze. I know you have payroll. I looked at the paper. I thought of Miguel, of Dina, who's raising twins, of Deshaun, who sends money to his grandmother. I thought of towels already tumbling in the machines and keys in the late box. Something inside me clicked into place. I'm not waiting, I said. Alonzo hesitated. What do you mean? I mean, I'm going to get my money back. He inhaled, like he was going to give me a speech about process. He didn't. He slid a notepad toward me. Document everything, he said. And Colton, don't go alone. I didn't. At 9:41 a.m., I drove to my parents' house with 2 people. My friend Tessa. She runs a bookkeeping service and looks like a kindergarten teacher until she opens QuickBooks like a scalpel. And a man in a navy blazer with a calm face. His name is Marcus. He's my lawyer. I didn't call ahead. The front door was unlocked. The house smelled like lemon pledge and last night's garlic bread. Mom appeared in the hall, hand on her chest. Colton, you can't just... Where is she? I asked, cutting her off. Mom's eyes flicked behind me, clocking Tessa and Marcus. What is this? Where? I repeated, my voice like steel. Is Belle. Belle walked down the stairs in a robe, like a runway model playing casual. She saw Marcus's briefcase and smiled too wide. You brought a lawyer for family? She mocked. That's sad. I kept my voice level. Put on real clothes. We're going to the bank. She laughed. No. Tessa lifted her phone, thumb hovering. We have the transfer chain, Belle. We have the admin change, the forged signature, the desk terminal logs, and the receiving account numbers. If you don't return the funds now, we file criminal. My mother gasped. Criminal? Over a misunderstanding. Marcus stepped forward, his tone soft, like he was explaining the weather. Mrs. Fulton, your daughter executed an unauthorized transfer scheme from a business operating account. The amounts and the structuring pattern strongly suggest intent to evade flags. We're here to resolve it quietly. Today, Belle tilted her head. You think I'm scared of court? I think you're scared of discovery, Marcus said, his voice dropping slightly. Subpoenas, screenshots, messages to your friends about free motel money, the ones you deleted but didn't really delete. I think you're scared of how fast this goes from family argument to felony. I think you like your apartment and your passport and your phone. Her face shifted. Not fear. Calculation. You can't prove anything, she said. Tessa tapped her screen. You logged in from the front desk PC. The webcam at the lobby catches everyone who walks in after hours. It backs up to the cloud. Want to guess when the last footage uploaded? Silence. I exhaled. Belle, I will not be your bank. I will not be your alibi. You have 2 hours to move every dollar back. Then we decide if we press charges. Mom stepped between us, hands up. Colton, stop. She's your sister. She is a thief, I said, and my voice finally broke. And I am done. For a second, nobody breathed. In the silence, Belle's phone buzzed. She glanced down, thumb flicking, a flash of panic crossing her face like a shadow. Marcus nodded toward the kitchen. Let's set up at the table. For 2 agonizing hours, we watched Belle pace between the kettle and the sink. We printed forms. We called Alonzo on speaker. We pushed wires and reversals, holding our breath when one transfer hung at processing like it wanted to make a point. At 11:58 a.m., the motel account ticked up. $9,800. Then $5,000. Then $3,200. Tessa kept a running tally out loud, her voice flat. 17-2, 22-4, 28-1. At $37,000, we stalled. Belle swore. She called someone named Cade and hissed, "Just send it back." At $41,588, the screen stopped. "That's all," she said, chin lifted defiantly. "Happy." "Short by $412, Tessa noted. Belle smirked. "Buy fewer towels." Marcus closed his folder. "Belle, here's the civil agreement you sign. You agree to reimburse costs, fees, and damages. You agree to no access, no contact at the business, and you agree to stop speaking about Colton's finances to anyone, or we escalate." She stared at the paper. "You can't make me." Marcus slid a second paper across. "Then this is the police report. We filed today. Your choice." My mother whispered, "Belle, sign it." Belle's hands shook. She signed. I didn't say thank you. I didn't say anything. I walked to the door. Mom reached for my sleeve. "Colton," she said, her eyes wet. "Don't punish family." I pulled my arm back gently. "I'm setting boundaries." "Same thing," she said bitterly. "No," I said. "It's the opposite." I left. I had payroll in the morning. I had a motel to run. And for the first time in a long time, I had a line I wasn't going to cross for anyone. The motel breathed that afternoon like nothing had happened. Keys slid across the counter. A boy asked if we had a pool. A woman argued about late checkout like my son owed her more hours. Normal is a miracle when you've been staring at the edge. I paid my staff on time Monday. I gave Dina a $50 bonus because Joy should land somewhere. I stopped in every room with a screwdriver I didn't need, just to feel the routine in my hands. The soda machine hummed less like a threat. At lunch, I printed the new policy sheet. Asterisk effective immediately, no non-staff computer use. Lobby doors lock at 10 o'clock. Passwords rotate weekly. Cameras backed up on 2 clouds. Asterisk Tessa helped me set up alerts that would scream in my pocket if a $10 variance tried to leave the account. Then I cleaned house. Not people, patterns. I blocked Belle's number. I left my mother's on silent. I texted my father. "Coffee Wednesday, just us." He replied with a thumbs up and a picture of a screw he found in the parking lot, like he'd captured a bandit. In the quiet, the group chat did what group chats do. My aunt posted a long message about family hardship and forgiveness. A cousin wrote, "Money comes and goes, bro," as if he'd solved economics. Belle posted a story with a Bible verse about not judging, followed by a selfie with the caption, "Staying positive." I didn't respond. Tessa sent me a screenshot of Belle asking a friend if slander counted if it was technically true. We added it to the folder. Marcus filed the civil agreement with a fancy stamp. He set reminders for the reimbursement plan like clock chimes. He sent me a list of words to use if anyone tried to make this my fault. Asterisk boundary. Harm. Restitution. Asterisk big words that felt like locks I could hold. That week, the motel felt lighter. Or maybe I did. Miguel told me a joke about a raccoon that I laughed at too hard. I fixed a hinge by listening to it instead of muscling it. I slept. Real sleep. The kind where the neon hum is a lullaby, not a warning. Wednesday, Dad came by in his work boots and Sunday hat. He held the screw like evidence. "Found this near the ice machine," he said. "One of the bad ones," I replied. He nodded. We stood by the soda machine until he cleared his throat. "Your mother says you embarrassed your sister," he said. "I saved my staff's paychecks," I said. He looked at the floor. "She says you brought a lawyer into her house." "I brought a door that never slams," I said. "That's what lawyers are for." He turned the screw in his hand. "Your grandpa would have thrown her out the window." "I used a window with hinges," I said. He glanced up. The corner of his mouth twitched. "Your grandma wants to see you." "I'll bring cake," I said. He put the screw in his pocket like a medal. "You did right," he said quietly. It was the first time I'd heard it out loud. On Friday, Belle tried a new angle. A long email arrived with the subject line, "Let's talk like adults." It was written like a press release, and a cry for help had a baby. She said she only took what was owed from years of me gatekeeping the family money. She said she was building something. She said I humiliated her in front of Mom. She said I was obsessed with control. She said Dad prefers her. She said Grandma always liked me because I act old. She said everything except, "I'm sorry." Marcus read it and replied with 4 sentences. Asterisk, all further communication regarding this matter goes through counsel. Per the signed agreement, defamatory statements will trigger immediate action. Do not contact my client directly. Asterisk, then he added a smiley face in his draft and deleted it before sending. We're not that petty. Not on paper, anyway. Still, I felt it. The anger, the old training, the part of me that wanted to fix the feeling in her voice, the temperature in our mother's kitchen, the version of me in their heads. That part has muscles. It lifts heavy things that aren't mine. I let it sit. I worked. I changed sheets in room 7 while the local radio DJ talked about a lost dog named Bingo with a distinguishing ear. I laughed alone and felt okay about that. Sunday, Grandma called the motel like she was ordering a pizza. "Bring your bones over," she said. "I baked the good biscuits." I went. She's 70 and sharp, her hair white as the inside of a seashell. She poured coffee and watched me like I was a TV show she likes, but doesn't trust. "Your mama cried," she said. "I know," I replied. "Your sister strutted," she said. "I know." "You stood up," she said. "I did." She nodded once. "Good. We ate biscuits." She asked about the AC in room 3. I told her it smelled like rain. She grinned. I like the smell of rain. When I left, she pressed a small envelope into my hand. "For the neon sign," she said. "It's 1 letter away from pretty." I opened it in the truck. $200 and a note. Asterisk, you're not broke. You're rich in spine. Asterisk, I laughed. I cried. Both felt like heat leaving. By month's end, things settled into a new normal. Business picked up with the cooler nights. A traveling softball team left the lobby sticky with victory. Deshaun managed to talk an AC into behaving by patting it like a horse. I replaced the O-Inn motel with a brighter bulb, and Grandma said it looked like it was smiling. Belle kept trying to turn the story into a lesson about me. People with nothing to say love writing your motives for you. My aunt called to say family holidays would be awkward if I insisted on making legal things a personality. I said I'll bring my personality and a pie. She hung up. One night, a familiar car rolled slow past the lobby. Belle, windows down, music loud. She didn't stop. She just looked in, like the motel owed her a flinch. I didn't flinch. I turned the no vacancy sign on, even though we had 2 rooms left. Some things you do for the feeling. The next morning, 2 envelopes arrived. One from Marcus, the first reimbursement installment. Certified check, exactly on time. One from Alonzo, bank credit for fraud fees reversed. Apology letter, hand-signed. I put the check in the safe. I pinned the apology on the corkboard by the coffee machine where only I would see it. It looked like a small flag. I expected to feel triumphant. I felt steady. That's better. I sat in the office, door cracked, listening to the lobby. A kid asked Miguel if ghosts lived here. Miguel said, "Only the good ones." The neon hummed on the highway side. And inside me, something that had been bracing for impact finally let go. 2 months later, Grandma had us over again. Smaller crowd. More food. Belle skipped it. Mom called during the green beans. I let it ring. Dad passed me the salt like a truce. After dessert, I walked Grandma to the porch, her hand on my arm. "You look taller," she said. "Fixed my posture." "Spine," she said. "You found it." We sat in the cool, cut grass air. A high school game droned in the distance. I rambled about occupancy rates. She asked about the AC. "It died," I said. She laughed, then went quiet. "Family is a habit," she said. "Sometimes sweet. Sometimes the kind you quit." "I don't like quitting," I told her. "You didn't," she said. "You chose." Inside, a fork clinked. Light from the screen door striped the floor. "Going to the holidays?" she asked. "Probably. I'll bring pie. I'll leave early." "That's a boundary," she said. "Not a punishment." On the drive home, a long text from Belle. Apology that became accusation. A request for a reset. Then, asterisk money. Family. Sticks together. Asterisk I typed. Erased. Then sent. I'm not your bank. Do not contact me about money again. Blocked her. Again. At the motel, I did last rounds. Room 4's TV forgot HDMI 1. I coaxed it back. The O in motel still burned bright, like a wink. I made coffee and sat at the desk with the ledger, bills, bookings, notes like replace 7 showerhead. I thought about the me who swallowed everything and called it loyalty. About Belle's line, asterisk, can't wait for my brother to realize he's broke. Asterisk, the worst part wasn't the money. It was the script where I never said no. I'm not in that role anymore. The moral is simple. Love without a boundary is a leak. I refuse to be the pipe. Now, on night walks, I check locks, lights, the ice machine. I check on staff. I check on myself. If something feels off, I don't explain it away. I shut the window. I seal the gap. A guest review said, clean rooms, kind staff, owner with a calm face. I laughed. Calm took a lawyer, a spreadsheet, a bank manager, and biscuits on a porch. Calm took no and meaning it. Belle still exists. Mom still treats boundaries like punishments. Dad still collects screws. Life isn't a movie. It's ordinary in the best way. The sign hums. The books balance. Room 3's AC smells like nothing. Tonight, a storm rolls in. The highway hisses. Neon glows. I lock the office, flip the sign, and say, mostly to myself, I don't let people use me anymore.